Imagine that the outcome of a battle is decided not by a general, but by a faceless algorithm, a software platform that turns the chaos of war into cold calculation in real time. This is not the future. This is the new reality unfolding, right now, behind the curtain of the headlines.
The modern battlefield is no longer just a territory. It is becoming a giant operating system, a single stream of data where every movement, every signal, every object is digitized and analyzed. And at the center of this system stand shadow corporations from Silicon Valley. Their name is Palantir, a company born at the intersection of two worlds, venture capital and the intelligence community. Its first investors were not geeks in garages, but In-Q-Tel, the investment fund of the CIA. From the very beginning, the goal was absolutely clear: to see everything. Palantir is not just software. It is a digital ghost that penetrates the most closed structures of power. It was created to solve the central intelligence problem after September 11th. How to connect scattered fragments of information into one unified picture of a threat. At its core are two key platforms. Gotham is built for government agencies, intelligence services, and the military. It acts like a digital detective, finding hidden connections inside massive datasets, whether financial transactions, movements, or intercepted communications. The second, newer system is AIP, the Artificial Intelligence Platform. It does not simply analyze the past, it tries to model the future. AIP was built to provide algorithmic recommendations in conditions where human beings have no time to think. Where does the system get its information? From everywhere. It is a continuous stream of data, from satellites, reconnaissance drones, commercial sensors, thermal cameras, electronic warfare systems, and open sources. Everything that can be digitized becomes part of this global neural network. The system collects fragments from dozens of sources that, to a human being, would look like disconnected informational noise. It can match a satellite image, radio intercept data, and a field agent report to create one dynamic map of the operational situation. This is the core function of Palantir, turning chaos and the fog of war into a structured flow of data. The battlefield stops being an unpredictable force of nature and becomes an analytical model where every element has coordinates, status, and a probabilistic vector of movement. In effect, this is the creation of a digital twin of the theater of war, a virtual copy of reality, where scenarios can be simulated, vulnerabilities identified, and the most effective points for applying force determined. War as a business process that can be optimized. This is not science fiction. These are multi-billion-dollar contracts with the Pentagon, the defense ministries of NATO countries, and intelligence agencies around the world. Palantir has become an inseparable part of the modern military machine, its hidden digital infrastructure. How does this work in practice? Imagine a command center. In front of the operator, there are not dozens of disconnected monitors, but one unified algorithmic map. The system highlights anomalies, unusual concentrations, and breaks in the enemy's logistics chains. The platform does not give orders formally. It gives recommendations. For example, data analysis indicates an 87% probability that a supply node is forming in this sector. The decision remains with the human being, but the field of choice has already been shaped by the algorithm. When the system offers you 3 options, each calculated from a massive body of data, it becomes almost impossible to propose a fourth option of your own.
The human being is transformed from a strategist into an operator, confirming the machine's decision. The real testing ground for these technologies became Ukraine. A high-intensity conflict turned out to be the ideal environment for testing and tuning a military analytics platform in real time.
Here, the system learns to operate under maximum load. It was in Ukraine, according to statements by Palantir's own leadership, that the company was able to prove its effectiveness. The time from detection to decision-making was reduced from dozens of minutes to just a few seconds. This is a technological advantage that changes the rules of the game. War becomes a competition not only between armies, but between analytical platforms. Whoever has the algorithm that processes data faster, identifies vulnerabilities more accurately, and proposes the optimal decision gains the advantage on the battlefield. And here, the corporate logic becomes visible. For Palantir, a conflict is not only a tragedy, but also the most convincing case study for investors and new clients. A product demonstration after which contracts begin to sign themselves. Effectiveness measured in real operations.
The company scales its experience. Military technologies are packaged into a product that can be sold to dozens of countries. A global market of predictive security is being created, where Palantir offers itself as the operating system for managing any crisis.
And now we arrive at the most important and most disturbing question. What happens when military logic, sharpened on the battlefield, is transferred into civilian life, when the same tools begin to be used for managing society? If a platform can identify anomalous activity on the front line with high precision, what prevents it from identifying anomalous activity in a city with the same efficiency? For example, the organization of an unauthorized protest or the routes of illegal migration. Borders, megacities, financial markets, social networks. All of these are also complex systems, generating enormous streams of data. And for the algorithm, there is no difference between analyzing the movement of troops and the movement of a crowd. They are simply objects on a map. Palantir is already actively working with police, border, and migration agencies in the United States and Europe. The same principles of data collection and predictive analysis are used to identify potential offenders or unwanted individuals. This is the ultimate threat, the creation of a global infrastructure of predictive control. A system that does not react to events after they have happened, but tries to prevent them in advance by identifying people and groups considered to represent a risk. We are moving toward a world where decisions about a person's fate, their freedom, movement, and access to resources can be made on the basis of an opaque algorithmic score, where you can become a target not because of something you have done, but because a model has calculated that you are a threat. The theater of war in Ukraine became a laboratory where this digital leviathan learned, grew stronger, and became more effective. Now, it is ready to move beyond the battlefield and become an invisible operating system for managing our civilian world.
The main question is no longer whether these technologies exist. They exist, and they work. The real question is who controls the platform? Who writes the code for the reality in which all of us risk becoming nothing more than data points on the map of a nameless operator?